We are here trying to grow the world's biggest tomato. 4 weeks ago, we planted 6 tomatoes for this experiment slash exciting adventure. After 4 weeks, we're ready to stake them, and we're ready to do some initial pruning and also tell you about a little change in the protocol. Oscar decided to use the penetrate liquid biotiller a little differently. We planted 2 mortgage lifters, 2 Whoppers, and 2 Big Zacs. Now the Big Zacs I had a hard time finding, so they're way behind. They're very tiny. But the mortgage lifters and the Whoppers, that's what we're gonna stake today. I'm John Valentino, president of John & Bob's, here with Chip Valentino, vice president in charge of large tomatoes, and Oscar is here. He's gonna explain the pruning, and we wanna do the pruning before the staking because it'll kind of clear the way and make the staking easier to get all the branches inside the cages. And this pruning is built around the concept of directing the energy towards growing big tomatoes rather than growing vegetative tomatoes. So you can see we got great growth in these 4 weeks, or almost 4 weeks. And now we're going to start the process of managing that growth. You want to remove some of the suckers because we want a lot of energy to go to the tomatoes so that we can grow the world's biggest one.
This is one sucker. The sucker is between the leaves and the main branch. So we need to... Now we can do this one too. The suckers, we can find it there between the leaves and the main branch. For example, this one. Leaf and the main.
Yeah. And so that's growing in between it. Okay.
They start like that. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
This is the sucker.
So which one is the sucker? This one?
Yeah,
But you're going to leave that one for now,
yeah,
until it gets a little bigger.
And now we can clear the bottom.
So you like to prune them up a little bit so you don't have a lot of growth right at the base. So on these size 1-month-old plants, we're identifying like 2 or 3 suckers and removing those, and we'll probably remove more as they continue to grow. And the whole idea is to try to focus energy on growing tomatoes rather than growing big leafy plants. Oscar, why do you prefer using these cages rather than just wood stakes?
We use those kind of cages because this plant goes about 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
So we don't want to grow
Wild. You want to keep it contained,
Yes.
and you also want to keep it supported. The problem, I think, with just stakes is it starts falling over. It's not a permanent solution, whereas this is a permanent, one-time,
Yes.
seasonal solution to staking. We put these cages in, and pretty much for the whole season, as long as the tomatoes are bearing, we're done with staking.
Yes. Well, sometimes they grow more than that, but
Yeah.
we try to do the best.
Where did you get these cages?
The owner went to hardware store, Home Depot. They made it.
Yeah, so they just welded it.
Yes.
Yeah, and we made some just like it, relatively easy way of making a cage. You can also buy these online. Some version of a steel cage, whether you make it yourself or buy it online, is what we recommend for growing not only the world's biggest tomato, but any tomatoes. And who do we have helping us?
Heraclio.
So Heraclio is going to help Oscar. So the reason he needs help is to try not to do any damage to the foliage of the tomato. He's going to do a combination of these cages with lodgepole stakes. So he's using those ties to tie the wire cages to the lodgepole stakes. The stakes with the stake pounder are very strong and sturdy. Usually they don't rot or anything. That's the purpose of using a lodgepole stake. In talking to people about growing the world's biggest tomato, it made me realize we want to grow the world's best tomato too. So big and delicious, not just big.
It's a lot of pressure.
Oh man, it's tough, but Chip is up to it, right Chip? He thinks he's got the secret way of utilizing penetrate liquid biotiller. In the last video, we told you he was going to inject the penetrate liquid biotiller, which is an excellent thing to do, but he changed his mind and he's only using the penetrate liquid biotiller on these tomato plants, and he's doing it once a week. Every Friday, he does about a gallon and puts it in the root zone. He did it this morning. We're supplementing the original fertilization of the soil and of the plant, which was our blend and our additional Nourish Biosol, and now once a week penetrate liquid biotiller. That combination will allow these to thrive. Do you think we can grow the world's biggest tomato? Let us know in the comments, but be kind. Today we did a little bit of pruning of the suckers so that we can direct energy of the plant to producing tomatoes, but very minor pruning because we still need a lot of vegetative growth through photosynthesis to allow those tomato vines to grow and prosper and get big. And then we stake them, and staking is a very important part of it. We're big believers in staking with cages because we find it's a permanent solution to staking, and we don't have problems as the season progresses with the staking method not supporting the vine. That's the focus of our efforts for today. And now we'll be back in 2 weeks and we'll look at maybe minor pruning and tying and get those developing in the right way. We'll look at the watering, we'll check for pests and disease, and we'll continue with the weekly penetrate liquid biotiller. That's what we've got coming up for our next visit. So if you like this video and get something out of it, please subscribe, and please tell your friends to subscribe. And right now you're watering how often?
Every other day.
Right now you're watering every other day, penetrate liquid biotiller once a week, and you've got two 2-gallon emitters on every tomato, and you're leaving that on how long?
30 minutes.
30 minutes every other day. At some point, do you change that, or do you?
No,
you keep going with that? Okay.
And for food, we don't worry about it because we got plenty food for plants. John and Bob gave us that.
John and Bob gave us food.
Yes.
Remember that.